In this video, we're going to learn how to find percents of numbers. Looking at this first question here, when we say we're going to find the percent of a number, we can think of it in terms of looking at a number line from 0 to 27 and asking what would 30% of that value be. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take that 30% and we're going to convert it into a decimal. Now to do that, we have to look at the idea that we have 30 and there's a decimal point after that 0. And we convert this into a decimal by moving that decimal point over 2 places. So from 30%, we go 1, 2, and we're left with 0.3. Once we have that decimal, we can take our number 27 and we can multiply it by 0.3. And remember, whenever we're multiplying, we always start with the value on the right. We multiply by the number on top, so 3 times 7 would be 21. We put the 1 here. We carry that 2 over to the top to the next number. We multiply across, so 3 times 2 is going to be 6, plus 2 is going to be 8. We have one decimal point, so that means we need to move that decimal point over 1 here. So our answer is going to be 8.1. Moving on to the next example, we have 45% of 70. If we were to take the look at this in terms of a number line where we go from 0 to 70, we would want to figure out where 45% lies in terms of a number. So from 0 to 70, where would 45% be? So for us to do that, we have to convert 45% into a decimal, meaning we take the decimal point after the 5, we move it over 2 places. And once we do that, we'd have an answer of 0.45 as a decimal. We take the number that we're trying to figure out, so 70 times 0.45. If we multiply this, we get 5 times 0 would be 0. 5 times 7 would be 35. We would add a 0 here. Now we multiply by the number to the left on the bottom, so 4 times 0 would be 0. 4 times 7 would be 28. We would add that up, so we get 0, 5, 1, and 1, which will give us 3. Now remember, we had a 0.45, so that's 2 decimal places, 0.45. So if we move that over 2, it means we have to move our answer over 2 for a decimal place. So our answer would be 31.5. So what would happen if we had 130% now? Well, we're still going to follow the same procedure. We move it over 2 decimal places. So there's always a decimal point at the end. We move it over 1, 2. So that would be a 1.3. Now we're going to take our number 27, we're going to multiply it by 1.3. If we do that, again, we always start with the value on the right, so that's going to be 21. We put a 1 there, the 2 there, multiply it across, that's 6, plus 2 would be 8. We add a 0 now, and we're going to multiply by the other number, so 1 times 7 would be 7, 1 times 2 would be 2. We add this up, we're going to get 1, would be 15, so that's 3. Now we have a decimal point right here, so if we wanted to figure out how many decimal points we move over, we go to the right, so that's 1. And so now we go to the left, 1. So our answer would be 35.1. Now looking at this next example, what would we do if we have 0.02%? Well, we still are going to just move it over 2 decimal places. But since we already have a decimal, we would move it always to the left 2. So now that's going to add 2 additional zeros to our number. So when we multiply this, we're going to multiply 2,000 times 0.0002. Multiplying this out, we'll start with the 2. Multiply, that's going to be 0, 0, 0. 2 times 2 is 4. Then we have zeros for the rest, so we just need to move over our decimal place 4 places. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So our answer is 0.4 or 0.4.